I'm Thomas Hamilton, and I'm here to deliver for you my demonstration speech. I have my audience with me today, which is my brother, my mom, and my dog, which I'm not sure if she counts, but I couldn't find a third audience member, so that's what she's going to have to do. And so today, I'm going to be demonstrating for you how to write a basic program on how to convert an English word into Pig Latin. And this may sound like a very easy task, but when you convert it on a computer, it can actually get kind of long and tedious. So the first step of making any program on a computer is to think about the logic that goes into it and simplify it as much as possible. And the logic of Pig Latin is basically take the first letter of the word, tack it onto the end, and then add AY. So for a word like cat, you'd want to have at-k. However, if the word starts with a vowel, you're going to want to not take off the first letter, not add it to end, and just add the AY. So you'd have a word like animal would just be animal A in Pig Latin. So now for telling the computer the logic that I just told you guys. The programming language that we're going to be using is called Java. And Java has a lot of handy tools that make it a lot easier for people like me and other programmers to write programs for a computer. And the first handy tool that Java gives us is called a scanner. And what a scanner does is take anything that you type into the keyboard and it will store it somewhere in the computer. And as you look at this line of code, you can see that I have a scanner called scanner scan, and I have that because in Java, everything has to have a name. So here, you declare what it is you're making, and right here, you say what its name is, and then we have equal to a new scanner from system.in. And essentially what this means is I'm creating a new scanner called scan, and it's going to take everything in from the keyboard. Now that we have our word, and somewhere in the memory of the computer, we have to make something that the program can edit the word with, so we can turn it into a Pig Latin version. So the next thing we create is called a string. And a string is essentially any amount of characters in a word form. You can have a word, a sentence, even a full-length novel into a string, but we know that our string is just going to be one word. So our string is going to be called original word, and we call it this because you want to easily remember everything that you have in your program, because when you make lots of strings, it gets hard to keep track of them all, so you want to give them something, a handy name to remember them by. And our original word is going to be equal to scan.nextLine. And scan.nextLine basically just means it reads everything that you typed into the scanner. So our string original word is equal to the original word. And it's also important to close the scanner, and that's just a Java thing. The next thing we have is called char first letter. A char just basically stands for character, and that means one single letter. And you can probably tell that because its name is first letter. And first letter is equal to original word dot char at 0. The 0 may seem kind of weird, but in programming, everything starts at 0 instead of 1. So by saying char at 0, we're really taking the first letter of the word, and that is why it's called first letter. Now we make a string called new word, which is not set to equal to anything yet because we haven't made the Pig Latin version yet, but we're going to be making it in the steps ahead. If you zoom in here, you can see that this line of code gets kind of long, but it's not as confusing as it looks. This is called an if statement. It means if everything in here is correct, then we perform this line of code. And what this line is saying is if the first letter is equal to A, E, I, O, or U, which are any of the vowels, our new word is going to be set to the original word plus AY, which means we're not going to be doing anything with the first letter or anything. We're just adding AY to the end. And that's all this step does. Our next step is called else. And else is like the opposite of if. So for our if statement that finds all the words that start with a vowel, the else statement happens for every other instant, which would be any word that starts with a consonant. So if it starts with a consonant, we know that new word should be set to the old word, everything other than the first, or in programming, the 0th character, which means we take the original word starting at the first character, we add our first letter, and then we add AY, just like we talked about before. This is just a page of all the code that we've gone over today. And it kind of seems like a lot because it is a lot. It turns, computer programs can get very long even for simple tasks. So if we look here, if you just want to come down and zoom in on it, I have the program open in something that will run our Java code, and I've entered the word cat to be converted. Do you just want to come in here with those and see it? I've entered the word cat to run in our program, and if I run it, oh no. Okay, I've entered cat, and if we enter cat, the Pig Latin version of cat is @k. Okay. Just like we talked about in our logic and when we were creating the program, our program will take any word and convert it successfully into the Pig Latin version. So thank you for watching this, and I hope you've enjoyed. Gotta show the audience. There's my brother, my mom, and my dog again.